Welcome to Cinevision, now in glorious color. Now here's your host, Barry, California. Hello, thank you, Tom, and welcome everybody to my first ever film review. I decided to make this channel because I love movies just as much as you do. And the first movie we're going to be discussing is DC's highly anticipated Suicide Squad. I'm going to give you the positives, the negatives, and my overall view of the film. So, let's get started.
Forgive me for my wrongs, I have just begun. Ain't no mercy, ain't no mercy.
Well, I guess the first thing I want to talk about this film is the cast itself. I really like this cast in this movie. I guess we can start with Harley Quinn being played by Margot Robbie. I really liked her character. I really enjoyed her. She was definitely the comedic presence of the movie. If her whole Mr. J Puddin', her whole attitude like that, and yeah, I really dug her. And I'll say another character I really enjoyed was Deadshot, being played phenomenally by Will Smith. I mean, this is probably the best we've seen Will Smith in quite a few years. I mean, he was great. He seemed like he was having a fun time. You know, he really dug into this movie, and you can really see that. And also another character that I really liked in this movie was Diablo, played by Jay Hernandez. I really liked this character. I really bought into his attitude of being like a street like gang member. You know, I felt it. I can feel like he actually was in a gang before. And so then there was also that scene in the bar where basically Diablo explains how he ended up in prison and how one day he just went off and he killed his wife and children in the process and turned himself in. That was a scene that I really liked. I felt bad for him, really, and felt sympathy for his character. And I also really liked Harley Quinn's response to that, saying that he basically owns that shit now and he has to live with it. And so that was a scene that I really liked. And I guess we can also talk about Viola Davis basically killing it as Amanda Waller, because like, she kind of freaked me the fuck out at some scenes. I mean, she was badass, I'm gotta tell you. Oh yeah, and Jai Courtney's in this movie, and I didn't hate him. I actually really liked him as Captain Boomerang. I thought he was actually really funny. I thought it was actually going to be obnoxious when I first saw the trailers, but no, I actually really liked his character, which is surprising for, you know, Jai Courtney. Oh god, what did you do to Terminator? And something that I gotta say about this cast is the chemistry together. The chemistry was flawless, I gotta say. I mean, seriously, this is better chemistry than the Avengers. I'm serious. I mean, they felt real whenever they talked to each other. They clicked, you know? And whenever they had those scenes when basically they're all just huddled up, taking a rest, taking a pause, they're all just conversing, it feels real. It feels like just a bunch of friends just talking, and it feels really real. They all really do seem like one big family. And also, this is by far the funniest movie we've seen from the DC Extended Universe. I mean, we got Man of Steel, which was brooding and dark, and we also got Batman vs. Superman, which is also brooding and dark. But I mean, hey, they had that Jolly Rancher scene. That was kind of funny, I guess. But no, in all seriousness, this definitely had a lot of humor. It was very lighthearted, and it's definitely a change in tone that they did from the other two films that they released before. And also, the soundtrack to this film, it's amazing. I'm serious. They probably spent half the budget of this film just getting the licensing rights to some of these songs. I mean, they got Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, which we saw in that amazing second trailer that they did. They got Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival. They got Purple Lamborghini with Skrillex and Rick Ross, Heathens by 21 Pilots, and Sucker for Pain with Imagine Dragons, Ty Dolla $ign, Logic, Lil Wayne, Wiz Khalifa, and X Ambassadors. So yeah, it's a pretty heavy-hitting soundtrack that they got. And I guess we also have to talk about Jared Leto's portrayal of the Joker. Now, this is the fourth incarnation of the Joker that we've gotten so far in live action. And this is definitely a very different one. It's not necessarily bad. Personally, I guess I kind of liked it. It was very different. You know, it's kind of hard to live up to what Heath Ledger did in The Dark Knight. And so he had some really big shoes to fill, and I think he filled those shoes up quite nicely. He definitely made it his own. If I can describe this Joker in one word, I'll say animalistic. If you see throughout the film, he's almost like a snake or like a hyena. He's kind of like slithering through people, or he's almost basically acting like an animal. He growls at time. He kind of slithers or hisses. So that's what I would say about the Joker. Which then also leads me to my negatives. Okay, so let's talk about the Joker again, or the lack of him, because he's barely even in the movie. He's in there for like 5-10 minutes tops, and he really doesn't do much to the plot. I mean, he's just kind of there to break Harley Quinn out of a couple situations, and that's about it. I mean, this is very disappointing because the way they hyped him, the way they marketed him and advertised him in all the posters and trailers, you kind of got the assumption that he was the main antagonist or villain of the film, but no, that's not the case. He's just kind of there. And even Jared Leto said that he was disappointed with what he saw because they filmed a lot more stuff with the Joker, and they just didn't make it into the movie. So, I mean, me personally, I liked what I saw so far. I thought it was a very different portrayal of the Joker, and I definitely think that he should come back in other DC movies. And also, I mentioned marketing before, and that's another problem that this movie has. It's marketing and the way it tries to present itself. Because when we first saw the trailers and the first shots and posters that we got of this film, it looked like it was going to be another dark, brooding DC movie that we always get. And then the second trailer came out, and they added a bit more color. And I thought, okay, this is cool. You know, with the Bohemian Rhapsody, it looked like it's going to be a little bit more lighthearted, which I kind of enjoyed more. And then by the end, it just looked like a big explosion from a rainbow unicorn. I mean, seriously, look at this poster. I mean, graphically, I guess it looks nice, but I mean, the tone shift is just way off. I mean, how do you go from this poster, this dark poster, to going to this bright, colorful rainbow unicorn type poster? I mean, it literally looks like a Japanese cereal commercial, and I'm actually not kidding. They actually have a poster that depicts the Suicide Squad as the little sugar cubes of a cereal, which, I mean, cereal isn't even mentioned in the movie, let alone even have anything to do. So the fact that this is a poster, it's just kind of, dumb. And, they're clearly trying to market to the Spencers and Hot Topic emo crowds. So yeah, it's just basically they had an identity crisis, and they actually had to reshoot a lot of the movie to get a light-hearted tone, and that's probably where a lot of the problems came from. And also with the reshoots, also brought on a lot more problems because the editing and pacing of this movie is terrible. I mean, they basically just pasted almost like a video game. Like, as I was watching the movie, I was trying to figure out if this was a movie or a video game. Like, when they first began, it began with a kind of like a montage or explanation of all the characters with brief little flashbacks. So yeah, they're trying to introduce all the characters, and they went really, really fast, like da 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 da. And then, like, once they got to Midway City, they just slowed down. They just kind of halted. And, when you're making a movie, you have to kind of make things go continuous. You have to either build up or build down. No, but it just went super, super fast, like da-da-da-da-da-da. And it just, like, kind of halted. Like, it just took, like, a quick pause, and it just continued going on. So, yeah, the pacing was bad, and also there's a lot of problems with editing, like... There's another scene at the bar where basically everyone's there, and then Rick Flag comes in, and as he's coming in, Captain Boomerang just kind of bolts out. It's almost like he's like mad or frustrated at someone. And then 2 minutes later, when they're all back in the street, he just kind of comes back. He's like, "Oh yeah, hey guys, I'm back." Like, where did he go? Like, there's definitely something missing there. There's something that we don't know. And it's something that they kind of cut out and never resolved. So, yeah, it's just kind of a bad thing with editing. It's just, because there's no continuity and all. So, I mean, yeah. There's also another problem with Captain Boomerang is that his backstory is very lacking. I mean, when you have like a big ensemble piece like this and you have big backstories for people like Harley Quinn, Deadshot, even Diablo and Rick Flag, and then you kind of like leave out backstories for like Captain Boomerang. I mean, basically all I know about Captain Boomerang is that he's Australian, he robs banks, and he can be an alcoholic. That's about it. And they left out a lot of like backstory for even a lot of characters. I mean, even with Killer Croc, all that I know of Killer Croc is that he's kind of a crocodile type person, and he's from Tampa, Florida, which I mean, it makes sense because Florida people. And also with Katana, they kind of gave her some sort of a backstory, but that wasn't really much. So yeah, when you have like a big ensemble piece like this, and you have big focuses on backstories of like 2 or 3 characters, and then you just kind of leave backstories to the other guys like in mystery, that's also another problem. Now let's talk about the main antagonist of this film, and no, it's not the critics on Rotten Tomatoes. It's Enchantress, and in general, basically, I'm just gonna say it, she's a very, very lame villain. I mean, she kind of really doesn't have any motivation. Basically, all she wants to do is kind of rule the world and build an army. I mean, that's about it. There's no really motivation. She's just very bland character, and they also, like, as I said with the marketing, it almost kind of looked like Enchantress was gonna be a part of the Suicide Squad, and they were all gonna be fighting the Joker, but no, she was actually the main antagonist, which is a surprise for some people. I mean, but I would say, like, in the beginning when they were all at the military boardroom, I guess I kind of like that scene. And I do feel for Jen Moon's character for having to deal with this witch that's inside her. But the witch itself is the bitch itself. I mean, seriously, it's just a very lame character. And also, Scott Eastwood's character and Slipknot do, like, nothing in the movie. And now, on to my overall view of the film.
I torture you, take my hand through the flame. I torture you, I'm a slave.
And I'll say, overall, I like this movie. I did. There's definitely a lot of problems with it, but it's a lot of problems that you can kind of get over, especially if you're a general moviegoer. And I'm not saying it's a perfect movie like a lot of DC fanboys are saying, and I'm definitely not saying that it's a terrible movie like a lot of the critics on Rotten Tomatoes are saying. I definitely don't think it deserves the 29% rating on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever it is now. But yeah, there's a lot of things that you can enjoy from this movie, even though there's like some technical and marketing problems and character development problems. You can definitely enjoy the movie, and I'm gonna give this movie a B-. So I hope you enjoyed my very first film review. I know it can be kind of choppy since this is my first one. I'm gonna be continuing to learn, and I hope you enjoyed. Please hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Peace.